So I used EasyWebinar for the first time. The first webinar made, Casey, now it's up to like $14,000, between,
nice.
Referring, products
to the actual event and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, doing the replay, people coming later.
So in the last 10 days, and what I love is how trackable this is, we've done 14 sales directly on the EasyWebinar platform. So that means they went from that streaming webinar and made a purchase of Podcasters Paradise, which resulted in over $16,000 of revenue. One thing I want to note, though, is that people are also taking action off of the webinar too, but because of the webinar. Some people are watching that amazing webinar, and then they're, taking a break, going to have some dinner, going to bed, waking up the next morning and being like, wow, I've been thinking about it. This is a big investment, but man, that webinar was powerful. I love this content that John has. I'm ready. And then they're going directly to podcastersparadise.com or any number of different ways to get to our order forms and buying then, because we're just seeing random sales come in at a much higher clip too, which can't be directly attributed to EasyWebinar, but I know that they're in part thanks to EasyWebinar and the fact that they were able to see that streaming webinar when it was convenient for them. So 14 sales direct, I have to say an easy number would be another 5 to 7 indirect as a direct result of the webinar, though. So again, we're talking well over $20,000 in the last 10 days that I simply would not have seen if I had not given them that opportunity. And what's been pretty cool is that most of those have come while I've been sleeping. So they're happening for people in Australia, in England, in India, those people that could never attend one of my live webinars because the times just don't work out for them, but they can attend the streaming webinars because they're choosing the time to do so. The sales are happening automated because of the systems we set up with EasyWebinar, and it's just been heaven.
Certainly, from the business point of view, my life has just exploded since meeting you and since working with EasyWebinar. So really happy to have this opportunity and let people know just how EasyWebinar is working for us. For starters, it absolutely opened the world to us. So no longer were there any borders or boundaries or anything like that, which was fantastic. So it was a case of watch us world, here we come. You then, once again, big catalyst in our growth, introduced me to turn your show into cash. And I then did that training, and through that, Authentic You Web TV was born. Mm-hmm. So I realized then the main reason for having come across EasyWebinar and just how we could utilize that. And we spent quite a bit of time sort of brainstorming and seeing what possibilities there were and how we could use EasyWebinar for Authentic You platform.
Hi, I'm Ingrid Lee, and I'm a professional artist who uses EasyWebinar to build my business. I've used EasyWebinar now for about a year, and I'd just like to share with you some of the experiences that I've had with using this software. Basically, I chose EasyWebinar over a range of other webinar programs, even including just using Google Hangouts to build my communities because of certain features. And more than that, I was actually able to market to my audience in a way that would build my community. And it also enabled me to do sales and funnel different audiences to different programs that I have available through my different websites.
I'm going to try my best not to get too excited about EasyWebinar because I don't want to make it seem like it's staged, but I am very excited to be a customer.
I love EasyWebinar, and I wish that more people would get a total, complete understanding of how it can make your life so much easier using EasyWebinar set up live, and this is what I really love, automated evergreen events.
I knew coming into the end of 2014 that things had to change, things had to improve, and that's why I knew when I wanted to take things to the next level automation-wise that Casey Zeman and EasyWebinar was the plan, was the play.
One of the biggest wins I've had this year is using Facebook ads to, like you mentioned, Casey, drive into EasyWebinar where I'm automating so I have a couple of different courses. So I have a beginner's course and then I have a more intermediate to advanced course. Now for the beginner's course, I have a webinar that I use Facebook ads every single day to drive into an automated webinar. And the reason that I decided to do that is because I wanted to be able to reach as many people as possible. I really wanted to be able to scale helping as many people as possible. And I figured that, doing an automated streaming webinar would be the best way to do that. So I'm at about 166% ROI on what I'm spending on the ads compared to sales. And so I also have that down to what my cost per I think it's cost per registrant is. Yeah, the cost per registrant. So what that number gives me is what I can spend up to on my Facebook ads cost per lead. So if I'm getting about a $2 cost per lead on Facebook, and then my cost per registrant from all the stats is, let's just call it $5, where I have a big wiggle room here that I can play around with in my ads while I'm being profitable. Yeah, I was previously this year I was using one of your competitors, and then moved over towards the end of the year here. And I mean, I'm so glad I made that jump over. The biggest thing for me is that I'm not a technical person. I don't know the tech side of things. It's been so easy for me to learn sort of the flow of the interface and figure out what I need to be doing. And like if I need to go get a URL, for example, I know exactly where to go. And that sounds super easy, but in other platforms I've used, I've had to go searching for it and not really sure what I was looking for. But in the EasyWebinar interface, it's super easy to navigate and see stats. Working with, I'm not just saying this to you, but working with you and your team, if I've had an issue that has come up, you guys jump right on it. Things are fixed, and it's awesome. So could not be happier that I made the changeover.
It was from the summer of 2013 that I started using it. So I've kind of grown up with it. Well, I just remembered. No, it was before then. I tried it out, and I went to another product that didn't work for me, and I came back. So I've been using it probably since the very beginning, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And I found that no other product can replace it.
When we decided to use EasyWebinar in conjunction with Hangouts for this event, I got on the phone with Casey and I said, okay, here's this idea, what should we do? And he told me about the ability to roll it, and so that's what we did. I brought my tech person in, and Mark's brilliant at what he does, and it was really simple. It wasn't anything for us that was monumental technology-wise. It was just set up the redirect to go from one to the other, keep people on the same page, and then it rolled. So what happened is that we had multiple speakers over the course of the 3 days of the event. We gave everybody one link to get to the sessions, although what we had to do is we gave them links for each session, so if someone came in midway, they had to catch it in the midway link. That was the distinction. No big deal. And then what we did was we just set up EasyWebinar to go from one straight through to the other. I don't know how it happened. All I know is that it redirected in that, and Mark worked the magic, but it wasn't difficult at all. And it came from Casey's inspiration in terms of how to make that work.
My business as an internet business has been like 15 months old. Let me tell you, the webinar process it's so rewarding when you're done. You go through like a blog, like anything else, and you second guess yourself as you're going through it, but when it's done and you can look at it and watch it, it's so rewarding to think that you just did this.
And that's when you and I put our heads together, Casey, and we worked out a plan, and we came up with a great funnel system.
So I actually wanted to see whether I could build a list that was explicitly interested in the actual program that I was launching, which was my online art school. So I had no list, and I used EasyWebinar to do that, and I was able to collect in about 7 days of just Facebook marketing. No paid promotions, nothing like that. Nothing on my websites. It was just sort of doing shout outs on Facebook. Ended up with around 90 registrants, and of those 90 registrants, I was able to get 50 users registering to participate in my website at the end of that webinar. So that for me showed that people not only trusted what I had to say, but they trusted in the brand. And that was a really clear example to me of the power of using EasyWebinar to build my online community.
What's happened with EasyWebinar is it's with Authentic You, it's helped us open a worldwide platform. It's a broadcast from New Zealand, the land of the first light, on each evening at 8 p.m. And what I love and where EasyWebinar makes it so easy is you have the link. People with any web addresses can watch the show. They don't have to download any extra software. You've really married it beautifully to integrate with Google Hangouts on air, so it works really well with that. So that's one of the huge pluses I see. And then also, and this is where EasyWebinar has helped us grow our database by 200%.
What really drew me to webinars is the one-to-many sales, right? Like it's not one-to-one. Every other sales platform is one-to-one, and that was one thing. The other thing was that I'm a terrible salesman, so like I feel like if I can just be honest and be, really looking out for the people I'm trying to sell to, like I feel like that'll come through.
Well, there's no better way to bring people from interested to actually converted into communities, products, and services than webinars, period. I've tested everything, and it's webinars, webinars, webinars.
Well, one of the best things that I love about it is that I can set up a registration page for my events, whether they're live or automated. I use it mainly for live events. So I set it up for my live event, the registration page, and then I have an event page link that the people who register get access to. And so at the date and time of the event, they come and they watch. Now, the really great thing that I have found about EasyWebinar that has really made it easy for me, when I finish the live event, I can make it a recurring event easily by pressing a button, and then make it an evergreen event that people can watch at their leisure.
What we used to do with GoToWebinar, for example, was so much more difficult. It cost us money to have someone record it, which was very expensive. Yeah. And then we had to take that recording, render it, publish it to Amazon, blah, blah, blah. The timing of that was awful. This is instant, and it made it so much easier. Yeah, and EasyWebinar made it happen for us. I don't know if we could have done it any other way.
It's just amazing. It works out. I couldn't wish for a better system to integrate for Authentic You, because we have the different emails that lead up, from the beginning, the welcoming the people that you now registered. Then you can do as many as you like to remind them, depending on how soon you start your advertising campaign before the event. So it's absolutely ideal. And then what I do is, in the last email that goes to them, I actually include the replay link, so that people are and that's part of our advertising as well, is if you're unable to be there live, obviously we'd love to have you live. It's the power of the collective coming together for that as well. However, if you're unable to, you can watch it at your leisure.
I asked every attendee, tomorrow, do you want to go to GoToWebinar or do you want to stay on Hangouts? And unanimously, it was stay with Hangouts. So that's because, in my view, Casey, your system made it work so smooth that it was beautiful. And even though we didn't have that live chat that we would normally have at GoToWebinar, that was time. The delay was not enough that they were fine with it. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have used the system, and I want to shout that out to you, because really you helped make that possible for us.
It's an absolute necessary addition to what I was doing. The reality is, it wasn't a sustainable model that I created. It was a model I was willing to maintain for a significant amount of time, aka 2014, because it worked, because I was building the understanding, because I was building the business, but it wasn't sustainable, Casey. And that's what you and I have now done, and that's what your EasyWebinar allows people to do, is to build sustainable business models.
He was just so nice about it, and I really appreciate that, because it really made me feel like he cared about me, which he doesn't know me from Adam, but that's how I treat my customers, and I like that he treated me that way.
There have been speaking opportunities that I was able to get just because of my experience with EasyWebinar. I was on stage at January 2014, I was on stage for Affiliate Summit, and I was sharing about EasyWebinar. And the reason why I was on stage was because I was talking about integrating Google Plus Hangouts into your online presence. And one of the things I talked about was EasyWebinar. And people loved that they could get into EasyWebinar and Google Plus Hangouts and integrate into their website.
So a big problem I was having with Evergreen was that their form was loading like after 10 seconds. So somebody would come to the page, their form would take 10 seconds to load, the iframe. I had like 150 or 80 people come to the Evergreen landing page, and I had 5 people sign up. I pretty much just switched platforms to EasyWebinar. I had 30% conversion rate. That's what it was. I had 76 signups. It worked out to be 30% conversion.
My goal is to do $1 million in sales on automated webinars in 2015, and I truly believe that's a very attainable goal. And it really comes back, Casey, and we mentioned this at the beginning, to the funnel that you're setting up. Like, you are not going to be able to achieve audacious goals like that unless you are willing to sit down and have a funnel. And for me, an absolutely mandatory part of that funnel is the EasyWebinar, because without it, it wouldn't be giving my potential clients the ability to become my actual clients when they want, how they want, and that's huge. I've now created a 20-episode podcast called Free Podcast Course Podcast that just drives people into Free Podcast Course, which drives people into EasyWebinar, the streaming webinar, which is where I convert all of my sales. And I would never have been able to create that arm of this entire funnel without more time. And that time was given back to me because of the automations that we've set up and the systems that we're creating.
And that's once again where EasyWebinar is fantastic, because we're able to, with people sharing the link, we incentivize them by giving them a taster, and each of the teachers have contributed a free gift for people sharing the link, with their friends, etc. So EasyWebinar enables us to do that. And then we have the, where I usually set it for about 3 minutes before the end of the show, where we get the product offer come down on underneath the show that they're watching.
Right.
So, so right there and then they're able to take advantage, click on that and take advantage of the show offer.
But to be honest with you, the platforms that I saw out there just kind of looked outdated. It wasn't the kind of presentation that I wanted my brand to come across. I didn't feel like I was in control of how the actual viewer was going to perceive my brand, because it just felt old. It felt dinosaur. It kind of felt GoToWebinar-ish, and to me, that's just so 2004. And here we are, 2015, baby. Like, let's get with the program. And that's why when I got to talk to you, someone who I respect, in the entrepreneur area, and to see what you brought forward, with 3.0, let alone now 4.0. I mean, this is cutting edge stuff, and it's beautiful, and the layout and the tracking and the analytics. I mean, it's exactly what I needed to make this leap. So, I want to thank you for that.
I could have tried to reinvent the wheel, which I tend to do too often. But when the master says, I suggest you do this and this, my recommendation is you listen to him. And I did. I listened to you.
First of all, I think you need to use the data that EasyWebinar provides. So what I did was I set up an entire week of options, like 2 days, 3 days out, how many. And then what I did was I chose the most chosen time and day, and then I'm running a single event at that time and day.
Oh, so you cloned the events and changed the dates on those. Is that how you did it?
Yes, and then whatever I had the most signups for, whatever day and time that was, I made a one-time event at that day and time.
So I think it's really important that people understand going in that, listen, the event starts now and ends here. So I'm asking you to commit your time to this 75-minute block. If you can't, find another 75-minute block that you can commit to, because this is starting now. There's no pause button. There's no rewind button. There's just a streaming webinar that you can either attend or not. Because one thing that we were finding that was really, pretty revealing was our replays were not converting at all when we were doing our live webinars and then setting out a 24-hour replay. They just weren't converting because people knew that, okay, I can watch this whenever, I'm pressing play now, okay, wait, I just got an email, okay, my dog just has to go out to the bathroom, and then they weren't coming back and they weren't finishing. We were seeing really low engagement on the replays, because when you give people the opportunity to press play, to press pause, they're just, they're gonna do that some other time in the future. I mean, I have a list of MP4s that I've downloaded that I'm going to watch, I'm sure at some point, I don't know when. When you make it a yes or no proposition, this is going live right now, and we're very clear about that in the emails. Hey, we're starting right on time. This is a streaming webinar, so if you're 10 minutes late, you're coming in at the 10-minute point, take it or leave it. That has really been a game changer, and I just love that aspect of it.
It really made it great, and it made the customer experience. I mean, for me, the biggest thing is the user experience, or the attendee experience, and it really enhanced the experience for us to go live, and also to not have them go through a bunch of different hoops to go from one session to another.
And then also, Casey, when setting up the whole event in EasyWebinar, there's the opportunity that at the end of the show, people get taken to a web page, which is awesome. So we take them back to that contributors page where the product offer is right there as well. So you're coming at it, you're making it easy for the viewers. Yeah. From all different angles, you're making it really easy for them to benefit from it.
One of the massive benefits of EasyWebinar is that producer's corner that you have, where Lewis came in and took my VA a deal under his wing, and he just taught him everything that, again, my virtual assistant needed to know to run EasyWebinar from behind the scenes. So even better than me getting taught, my virtual assistant got taught, which just opened up even a whole new avenue of time, of leverage, of scalability that I can be focusing on other parts of my business now. So now I have a VA, thanks to you and your team, that's fully trained up on EasyWebinar that runs the show. And it's been amazing to see, what can happen when you leverage a team like that. It's incredibly easy to have been able to just do one of my standard live webinars that I do every week via Google Hangouts, just like we're doing right now. Then that's automatically being recorded and shipped off to my YouTube channel. And then once that live webinar was over, I just went into my YouTube channel, downloaded the MP4, sent it over to you, and next thing I knew, I had an EasyWebinar up and running and being able to be streamed out to the world.
I want to ask you one last thing. What did you get for the holidays? What did you get for Christmas? Anything awesome?
My parents got a family, or they got a Bermuda cruise for everybody in the family.
Please don't get lost in the Bermuda Triangle, dude. We need Downey Dumas. We need your whole family around. So,
but Casey, if I do, you'll always have my streaming webinars.
That's right. EasyWebinar. You'll still be able to make money, even if you are lost at sea in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, what a perfect way to end.
That's got to be the perfect way to end.
The other reason why I enjoy using EasyWebinar is the support that I get from the team in the Facebook group, and that was something that was quite unexpected. I wanted to make sure that I chose a program that would have some level of support, and most of the time you just submit a ticket and wait for someone to email you, but you get more than that with EasyWebinar. And the level of support and encouragement and the sharing of ideas, in that community has been phenomenal. And when you need it, they are there. And I mean, right up to the last minute, they are there to help you set up your webinar, or, whatever technical issue you might have. It is not a problem for them to solve. And even if it might seem something really simple, it's not a problem for them to help you. And they don't make you feel like you're not quite tech savvy. I do know what I'm doing with most of the work that I do, but sometimes you still have those questions, and they are so ready to help you at any time. And that for me has been a really encouraging process to go through.
Thank you. Well, I'm just grateful that you created an avenue for me to be able to integrate my WordPress website in with Google Plus Hangouts without a lot of stress. Thank you for creating EasyWebinar.
You know, we've got multiple programs, of course, scheduled, using the technology, and and we'll continue to use it. It just makes so much sense. It worked so well.
So Tom, you asked about the revenue stream in that, and Casey, and since we started 2 months ago, now in our 3rd month, I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled that it's gone up by 600%. So you've got one happy customer here, one very, very happy customer.
So for me, I've had a wonderful experience with using EasyWebinar, and I'd just really like to thank everyone at EasyWebinar for creating such a great project and program that enables us to create different types of businesses online. And particularly for mine being in a creative industry, it has unleashed for me a lot more creative potential for where my business can go. Thanks a lot.
And we have the most amazing teachers here. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. So how do we showcase these teachers to the rest of the world? And you've brought that platform forward. You've integrated, with Google Hangouts on air. There's no limit to the amount of people that can attend. And it's absolutely wonderful. And with your system as well, you're able to set up, different times for it to be broadcast the same show, etc. So yes, it's a win-win-win all round.
If you're not using all the features of EasyWebinar, explore it, because there's a lot more to it than probably meets your eye. So Casey, thanks a bunch. I can't wait to see what new things you're coming out with, because I know a couple of things that we've talked about offline, and I'm excited about seeing them. So you guys are in for a big treat. And no matter when you watch this video, whether you're watching it in whatever real time it is today, or you're watching it in a year from when we've recorded this, I can pretty much tell you that Casey's got new stuff coming out. So this is, I can't wait to be part of it, and I'm thrilled to be part of that journey. So thanks, Casey.
And yeah, I'd love to share with you down the track next year, just how things are going as well, because I can feel it's going to absolutely fly. And I am so grateful to you, Casey. You've been a blessing in our lives.